What's going on, everybody? What's happening? What's shaking? What's doing? My name's Dave McRae, coming to you live from the Voice Man Studios in Toronto, Canada. He's Tony Michael in Atlanta, Georgia. I feel like I'm really hot on the microphone for some reason. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, hope you're doing well. Hope everything's going great. This is episode 208 of Two Dudes and Some Bullshit. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live! That's a little better. I think it's a little better for levels. Just working on the levels. Levels are a little... Maybe it's all right. Maybe levels are fine. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. What is going on, everybody? I feel like I'm peaking. Am I peaking? Do I sound loud, chat room? Do I sound loud? Do I sound loud or not loud enough? Let me know. Let me bring myself down a little bit.
I peaked in the 90s, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Blah, blah, blah. Maybe that's better. Maybe that's better. Maybe that's better. Yeah, that feels a bit better. That feels a bit better. Chat room will let me know. How does this sound, chat room? Does this sound okay? This probably sounds fine. Yes. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 208 of Two Dudes and Some Feces. Franchise killers. Franchise killers.
Killed the franchise.
Yes. Not the antagonists in the franchises, but the installments of these franchises that Tony and I deem...
What movie do we feel that went, we went too far.
Yep. The jumping the shark installments, the films that destroyed the franchises. And of course, this should go without saying, our opinions are the only ones that matter. Yours do not. So if you are watching from home and you do not agree, well, you're just wrong.
There you go.
You know there's somebody out there who's going to be like... but anyway, no, obviously this is all... I mean, you can agree, you can disagree. It's not we are not the Judge Dredd. Maybe we are. But how's it going, Tony? What's going on?
Nothing much. Everything's going good. Work's been good this month. Busy. I'm going to do a shameless plug for the Halloween heads. I've been telling Dave this for the last couple of weeks. I've been mixing music again, and I got an Instagram account up. YouTube's coming, TikTok is coming, but right now I'm just doing on Instagram. And I did for those who don't know, I've DJ'd since I was 10 years old or 7 years old with my dad, and I did the radio thing for a while in the early 2000s in nightclubs. So mixing music has always been something that I've done. I've gotten more into learning how to sample tracks. And I did a sample today of the Shape Stalks from Halloween, created my own beat. I took elements of the Shape Stalks and put it over my own beat, dropped in Loomis's vocals during his infamous speech. It's short. It's only about 1 minute and 45 seconds. So for you Halloween fanatics, if you want to, this is my first one. So I'm still kind of learning how to sample music. So be easy on me.
Yeah.
But my first one, even my girl was like, not bad, dude, for my first time, trying this part of, because sampling music versus the mixing music is it's two different things.
Yeah.
And it's, so it's a learning process, but I think Halloween fans would appreciate it. So check it out on Instagram and see if you like it.
Yeah. Check it out.
Oh, Anthony Michael Mix, MIXX.
Anthony Michael Mix, MIXX.
Yeah.
All right. There you go, folks. Anthony Michael Mix with 2 X's on Instagram. Make sure you follow.
I'm working on the new one now for Nightmare on Elm Street.
Awesome. Now, is that going to have sounds in it as well and drops and voices and stuff?
Soon as I figure out the beat, I've got the melody from the Elm Street melody and now I'm just trying to come up with my beat, and then trying to figure out what vocals I want to sample from the movies.
Right.
Probably going to do Nancy and certainly going to do Freddie, of course. I just haven't figured out what, because I don't want to do everything in one shot. I want to be able to create multiple samples. And whatnot. So kind of like today with doing the Loomis voice, I only chose the Blackest Eyes, the Devil's Eyes. That's it. It's all I chose.
Right.
But I can essentially, take other parts and create something else, you know. It's like,
right.
And that's the cool thing about sampling and whatnot. It's fun. It's creative fun. So I figured the Halloween fans would appreciate it.
Yeah. No, for sure. I was just double checking your Instagram there that I said it right. Anthony Michael MIXX, right? XX. Anthony Michael, yeah. 2 X's. Okay. Yeah. Make sure you follow him there, folks.
It'll be a mixture of mixing music and then doing the sampling, and then I will do like scratch performances and stuff like that down the road and whatnot. So, but yeah, sampling is just something I've wanted to get into for a long time. And I was just like, fuck it, I'm going to do it. And actually one of our people that I met through doing this show with you, get his name right so I don't fuck it up. He actually gave me the
Harrison
idea for this.
Ford. Yes.
No, Andrew Stevens. Stevens.
Yeah.
He's been watching us for a really, he sent me some guy who did something similar. I was like, hey, I have a drum machine. I can do that, but create my own beat and do something slightly different because I don't like copying people.
Yeah.
I don't want to do what someone else does, but I like getting inspired and say, oh, that's a cool idea. Well, let me try it this way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, Andrew is great. He's one of our mods. He's great.
Cool.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, no, that's cool, man. I can't wait to check out the Halloween one and the Elm Street one, and then you're gonna kind of get on this. I'm
gonna do them
kick.
all. Eventually, as I get better and get confident. Oh yeah, I've got ideas for Jaws. I've got ideas for The Shining. I've got for like basically all movies and stuff.
Cool.
Like that. And it's cool because it changes up the post rhythm. So it's not just me mixing music every day. It's one day I'm gonna do a sampling, or one day I'm gonna do a mix, or one day I'm gonna do this, and it mixes it up. That's why I call Anthony Michael Mixed.
Of course. Oh, it's got like a couple of meanings in there, not just mixing, but mixing it up.
You know how you like that layer, right? The layers.
Yes,
like, what does it mean? Why did I? Yes. So it's because I'm not just sticking to one thing. It's a combination of a few things.
I like it. That's good. Yeah, so I got some good news today as well. We were just talking about that before we went live. So for those of you that, if you follow me on social media, you probably know. Anyways, so one of the animated shows that I was on, or am on, called Lana Longbeard. It airs on CBC Gem here in Canada, and in the UK it's on Cartoon Network. And I think the US distribution is still coming, as far as I know. And so anyways, we were just nominated for 2 Canadian Screen Awards. Now the Canadian Screen Awards are the Canadian equivalent of the Oscars and the BAFTAs. And we were nominated for Best Animated Series and Best Writing. And so really exciting. Actually, I have the little post or little image that I shared on social media today. There it is, right there.
That's super cool, dude.
Very cool indeed. Yeah, Best Animated Program or Series and Best Writing. So congratulations to the entire team of Lana Longbeard, the producers, the writers, the actors, the animators, everybody involved. This is really cool. We were also nominated for 3 WGC awards, and the WGC is the Writers Guild of Canada, which is the, again, Canadian equivalent of the WGA, the Writers Guild of America. So I knew this was a great series. I mean, when I booked it about, I say 3 years ago now, because I was recording it with animation. It takes a long time. It started airing last year, but animation takes a long time. And I think I had just finished Dylan's New Nightmare. And when I got back, so this is 2022. And I think when I got back, I started my first session at the end of 2022 for Lana Longbeard, and then recorded all through 2023, all through 2024, and then it was finally released in 2025. But yeah, congratulations everybody. Really cool indeed.
In that world of what you do for animation, do they do the animation first so that you can react to how the animation's going, or do they draw it after the fact?
No. So if it's animation from the ground up, like it's a brand new show, they will always record the voice talent first, and then the animators will animate.
Really?
Yes. And then the animators will animate to what's called lip flap, right? And so that's where that's how, when you watch Family Guy, The Simpsons, where, whatever shows you watch, within the confines of a 2D animated world, you will see when, characters say, I don't know, ow, you'll see their mouths go, ow, right? You know what I mean? They'll kind of have a little bit of an O in there, enough to give the sense that they're actually speaking the words that are being said. It's not like, really detailed.
I always thought it was you guys are reacting to whatever was already created, so you knew how to enunciate the lines you're saying. That's interesting.
No. So now that can happen if you are dubbing a show from another language, right? So sometimes shows will come over from Korea or come over from China or whatever the case is, and they want to, see if they can take a crack at the North American market. And then what happens, of course, is that they hire either American or Canadian or North American voices, right, to dub the series that's already there. And in that case, sometimes we will be in the booth and we'll be able to see the cartoon sort of already formed, and we have to do our best to kind of, match the lip flap that's kind of there. But again, because it was already dubbed in a different language, it's about getting as close as possible. It's more about the timing of when the person is speaking and things like that, not so much about the lip flap. And depending on the character, right? If it's a duck or if it's a beaver or if it's a frog, then the lip flap doesn't really matter because it's usually just a mouth that's going up and down. But if it's a human being, there will be a little bit more of rounding and enunciating and lips. There'll be a little more lip flap on humans.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but with brand new series, they always record the voice actors first. So we were nominated for 2 basically Canadian Oscars, which is really darn cool. And I believe the show or the event is next month. And also too, I've talked about her on the channel a number of times. One of my friends from high school, Melanie Scarfano, was just nominated as well for Best Lead Performance in a Drama Series. The series is called Revival, I think it's called. She's in that, and she just was nominated as well. Melanie was in the first Ready or Not film as well. She played she wasn't the lead, obviously, but she was the ensemble as the crazy family, right? I forget her name in it, but she was part of the crazy family. Anyways, I went to high school with her. We were very good friends, and she just was nominated for a Canadian Screen Award for Best Lead, I don't know how it's best. Not best actor, it's best performer in a lead role, I think is the correct sort of how it's done here. So congratulations to Melanie as well. So pretty cool stuff, cool stuff. Anyways, I just thought I would share that because it's very exciting to be a part of a show that, and I knew from the very beginning that this was going to be a great show. The writing was really, really great and really solid, and it was a lot of fun. When the writing is good as an actor, when the writing is really good, it just makes your job that much easier, and so it was a lot of fun. So congratulations everybody on Lana Longbeard for your 2 CSA awards, 2 CSA award nominations. All right. Should we get into the main topic here of what this show is about? Let's do it. So franchise...
Words of Tone Loc. Let's do it.
Franchise killers, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. All right.
Chucky.
We're going to start with Child's Play. Now, folks, again, this is not about the antagonist. This is about what we believe are the installments that kill the franchise. And Tony and I want you, if you're watching after the fact, jump into the comment section below and let us know what installments in each franchise you think killed the franchise. And if you're watching live right now, let us know in the chat room. We'd love to know. All right, Tony, you want to go first? What Child's Play movie you think? First? You want me to go first? All right. Well, look. Okay, all right. He's going first. Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Just dive in. Let's go.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I didn't see all. No, I did see all of them. Because I think it goes Child's Play 2, Child's Play 3, and then
Bride, Seed,
Cult, Curse, or Kurt,
Cult.
So,
Calls. groom.
For me, I kind of checked out after 3. Like once 3, like the whole army boot camp thing, I was like, yeah, kind of good.
Yeah.
I didn't really care for every. I mean, I saw most of them. I pretty much, I think I've seen them all at some point. I'm almost 100% positive I've seen them all. But didn't really care for any of them. And it's like I just remember thinking like. When you're in the creative room, there's a creative process of making a movie. There's the storyboarding. And I just really like to know the thought process behind the storyboarding. I believe it's in Seed of Chucky. Like, what would be a great idea? Let's show silhouette of 2 dolls fucking in a movie. Like,
right.
Like,
right.
Really want to know, like, that's some dark shit, man. That's just like, yeah, like, no, not really feeling it. But yeah, 3 pretty much like I didn't, the first 2 I liked. The first one's classic. The second one was a solid sequel. I do like the second one. 3, I'm just like, yeah, I'm over it. And then forget the rest.
Yeah. So 3 is the one that ruined the franchise for you, or it's the next one that ruined the franchise? Because for me, I was going to say 3. I was going to say 3.
No, 3. 3 for me is it. It's just like, like I'm just like,
yeah.
I didn't care for the whole boot camp thing, and not boot camp, but he went to some type of like
military camp,
military boys training, whatever it was. I don't know. I just the novelty kind of ran its course for me. Like first one, like I said, first one's iconic. It's great. The second one was a solid sequel. The third one, you're just like,
yeah.
And then the rest are just like, forget about it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's Child's Play 3 for me as well. And it's not that it's, look, when you compare it to some of the later films, it's like an Oscar winner, but it is the one where you're like, we've made that turn. And we're only 3 films in, and we've made that turn. And then you get to, and then the next one after that is Bride. And now think about where you were in the first movie, and then you go to Bride. It's like, where are we now? Right? Like it's such a,
it's becoming a caricature of itself.
Yeah, it's just so ridiculous. So I agree with you. Now some installments that we talk about here today are not necessarily, like, some will be, worse movies than others and other franchises. Like, they're not all created equal. We're not comparing apples to apples, right? But I do agree that I think Child's Play 3 is the one that sort of, is the catalyst. Ruined the franchise, destroyed the franchise. They may be a little harsh statements for Child's Play 3, and they may be dead on statements for others and other franchises, but I do think 3 is that one where I'm like,
it's the beginning of the turn.
Yeah,
it's like, okay,
yeah, exactly.
So that's essentially killing it, meaning like now look, I know there's some hardcore Child's Play fans out there and Chucky fans, so they may feel very different about that, and very understandable. Like they may love Seed and Bride and Curse and Cult and all that. To me at that point, I don't know, like it just. But 3 is kind of that. It's what, all right, it's the novelty's worn off. Like, So.
Yeah. No, I get you. All right. I mean, folks, do you agree? Do you believe that it is Child's Play 3, or is it Bride of Chucky, or is it Seed of Chucky? Is it Cult of Chucky? Is it Slave of Chucky, or whatever the hell else there is? All right. So Child's Play. Texas? You want to do Texas? All right. Let's do Texas Chainsaw Massacre. All right.
I'm going to get so much shit for this.
All right. I'll go first.
Here it comes. The pitchforks are coming my way. I'm sorry, but because when you think of the first film and just grittiness and how it's just incredibly good Tobe Hooper did that. I mean, it's in my top 6 favorite horror movies of all time.
Yeah.
I love that fucking movie. Fuck, man, that 180 they do in the sequel is just like, bro, what the hell happened? And it just, like, from that point on, from the second film, excluding the Jessica Biel reboot that they did in, was it 02 or 03?
03 or 04, somewhere around there, yeah.
Something like that. Excluding that one, I mean, that franchise, we talked about this, so I'm not going to kind of go down that road again, but essentially that franchise has just not... he hasn't had Leatherface has not had a moment to shine in a few films, like kind of like back to back, good, other than like rebooting it, new storyline, or essentially new family, new storyline. But if I'm basing it off of the Hewitt, the Sawyer family, first film, for me, I mean, I know there's a huge fan base for part 2 because part 2 is a black comedy, and I get it, but it's just such a 180 tonal shift of what the first film was, and we really haven't come close to getting anything what that first film was. And I'm hoping that television show does something. But I just feel like with this franchise, it just is always such a huge letdown with one shining moment, like a shooting star we got with the reboot in 2002 with the Hewitt family. So
yeah, I agree with you again. 100%. On my list, I have written down here, it is Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. I think it's a pile of crap. And I think I respect those who like it and like the 180, but it's too stylized for me. It's too much of a difference. I have trouble believing it's
like almost like two completely types of movies.
I have trouble believing it is the same universe. I have trouble believing that I'm watching the same thing. And it doesn't, you set up the original as to be taken seriously, something that is based on a true story, and all these things and very sort of serious
movie. Absolutely.
And then this is just, like a Saturday Night Live skit. And
yes.
I understand why people like it. I get it. And that's fair if you love it, but I can't meet you there. I cannot meet you there. It's not the kind of fan I am. I can't, it's like, imagine if you watch the original Halloween and then Halloween 2 is like Scary Movie or something. It's like, what is, I don't get this. Like, so you have Halloween, which takes itself seriously, and then Halloween 2 is like Scary Movie level dumb. Like, I just don't understand. This is ridiculous. Like, I can't, but it's good, man. It's good. It's like, yeah, okay, fair. If you love it, you love it. But I can't, sure, and I just can't meet you there. Yeah. I just can't meet you there. And they were never able to, and then they try to go back to do something quasi-serious, like they're kind of going back, and then they get the Matthew McConaughey one, and they could never really do anything with the franchise after the first one, if we're being totally honest, until the Jessica Biel remake in the early 2000s, which took itself very seriously. Not that had, and then there was the beginning and then all the rest, but Texas has had a rough go. It's had
very rough go.
A rough journey. A rough journey.
So, I'm rooting for it, man. I'm rooting for it in this series that they've talked about with Glenn Powell producing. So I'm hoping that, they stick the landing on and we can get a nice little run with this show. So we'll see what happens.
I hope so. But yeah, so for you, we're in agreement here. I mean, for you, it's Child's Play 3. For me, it's Child's Play 3. For you, it's Texas 2. For me, it's Texas 2. And now
we're on to Scream. This is where we could differ.
I think we are going to
differ on this.
All right. Well, should I go first, or you go first, or how do you want to do it?
Go first.
All right.
I've gone first the first two.
Okay. So this was tough. The two toughest franchises I had a difficult time finding installments that ruined the franchise were Scream, the Scream franchise, and funny enough, the Friday the 13th franchise. And I'll explain to that when we get to Friday the 13th. But for me, when I look at the franchise as a whole, and this is an interesting franchise, Tony, and you'll probably agree with me too, because you had a hard time with this one as well.
I had a very hard time.
And I think, again, it's in part how the franchise is constructed. Every movie is its own thing. Although it does connect with a through line in terms of it's all one big universe, as I've said many times, every movie, it doesn't end on a cliffhanger. You can watch every installment and never watch the one after, and you wouldn't be at a loss for anything, right? You know what I mean? You can watch the original from 1996, never watch another one, and it's not like you're missing out on anything. I mean, maybe you think you are because you know there's others, but there isn't this cliffhanger that makes you got to find out what happened next, that makes you got to find out what happened next, that makes you got to find out. That doesn't exist in the Scream franchise. They're whodunits. They're self-contained stories in every movie. And so it's hard because you think, well, which one ruined it?
This franchise one thing we cannot take away from it, it's been consistent.
It has.
They've stayed consistent throughout, whether you like the movies or not. They have Scream franchise of all of them have a consistency.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. And, but when I look at the franchise and I look at 1 through 7, and I was thinking about it. How do I feel about it? How do I feel about it? I don't hate any of the movies at all. I like some more than others, but I don't hate any of them. But I will say, I think the one that, again, we're using harsh language for, the effect here. I think the one that has ruined the franchise, is Scream 7. I think it's Scream 7. I think it's Scream 7. And I think that's going to be a hot take. And it's for all the reasons that I have basically said when talking about Scream 7 in the past show and my videos. And to give a Cliff Notes recap, I think Scream 7 to me, and I only speak for myself, of course, it doesn't mean they can't make a great part 8. But for me, as I was watching it, it felt tired. I felt the narrative exhaustion. I know there were a lot of people that were excited to have Nev back, and it's always great to see her back. And she was great in the role, and Isabel May was great, and all the things we've said, right? It's not about her, it's about the narrative exhaustion. And we've seen this, we've gone back to the Sydney well. There's nothing really new that's being introduced here. It's just another Scream movie. And you could look at that and go, well, isn't that a good thing? Well, it is. Sure, it's playing it safe, but when you're 7 movies in and now you've gone back, I don't feel like, Sydney's story has already ended 5 times before this. And because of the structure of every movie it's its own self-contained story. So Sydney has had her happy ending 5 times before this, and then she gets another happy. We've been here. It's exhausting. It feels tiring. Doesn't mean the kills aren't good, or that wasn't good, or that wasn't a good shot, or that wasn't a good moment, or she wasn't good. But overall, the structure and the theme of this Sydney Prescott thing and the reveal and the motivations for it, I'm just like, are we going to make another Scream movie with Sydney Prescott again? And now what? Now they're after her daughter, and she's got to come back, and now it's not the neighbor, it's now the taxi driver and the convenience store clerk. And we're running out of reasons for people to care about Sydney at this point, which is why I think the Screams 5 and 6, although not universally beloved, universally beloved, I think it was the right decision to move away from Sydney. And those 2 films, again, not perfect, but they made a lot of money. The critics liked them, the fans liked them for the most part. Not if you didn't, that's you, but generally speaking, the fans enjoyed them. And I think that was the right thing. And I didn't miss Sydney in 6. I really didn't. And now that's me. And I'm not saying she's not an icon and she's not the face of the franchise, but for me, at this present time, when I look at all the Scream movies, I go, yes, 7 feels the most tired to me. And so that's why I chose it.
Do you want me to go now?
Yes. Oh, yes.
This was hard. It's like
Tony chose Scream 9. No, he's looking into the future. It
pains me because, Nev, that's Nev. That's my Scream queen, and she's my favorite final girl. Look, I get why people don't like Scream 4. I love Scream 4. It's, unfortunately, it's also Wes's last movie.
Yeah.
But to me, I think he hit on all the elements of the time that was going on in 2011. So I understand where people are coming from, why they didn't really warm up to it. But
a lot of people love Scream 4.
I love Scream 4. I thought it was a good return to form. It's probably my second favorite in the franchise, next to it's close. It's neck and neck with Scream 2.
Right.
But for me, I might give it just a little bit of a bump. But look, if there was no Scream 7, I would have said Scream 6. But it's Scream 7.
Okay.
And I hate
We're on
seeing
mark
that because it's Dev. But I have done a rewatch of the two franchises of the franchise recently twice. I went through and watched it twice. We did our review on 7. So I'm not going to rehash everything we just talked about, but 5 and 6, 6, the only issue I have with 6 is the big city thing. But aside from that, I can go, okay, well, I can overlook that. 6 really, and the ghost face warehouse. Like,
Yeah.
I just didn't really care for that either. But everything else I thought was really good. I like Melissa Barrett. Is it Barrett? Barrera. I really liked her Sam character. It is wrapped up, although there is room that you could do more with it, maybe one more if they wanted to. But if I'm comparing 6 and 7, then it's I'm gonna say that this most recent one it might be time to say goodbye to the franchise, or somehow figure out a way to breathe some new life. And you guys can check out what Dave and I said. We shared a few ideas on how they could breathe some new life into that franchise. We just did literally the last show we did, so you guys can check it out and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to repeat all of what I said, but yeah, Scream 7.
Scream 7. Yeah, no, I hear you. I think it's, and a lot of people love it, love it. And that's great. But I just felt, going back to the Nev story, it didn't push the narrative forward for me enough. It's a story that could have been anywhere in the franchise, in the timeline. I mean, generally, obviously you couldn't put it right after but it doesn't feel like it's, I don't know. It didn't move the needle for me. So, but we'll see what they do with 8. It'll be Nev Campbell again. Probably will. Okay.
So, I don't think we decided. Do we want to do Nightmare or do we want to do Friday? What do we want to do? You got a quarter, heads or tails?
Ooh, I don't have a quarter. What does the chat room think? Should we do Nightmare next, or should we do Friday next?
Or should we do Friday?
Let's see. Let's see.
And I can figure it out in the order of which we wanted to
do. Let's do a very quick, 1 minute poll. Yes, like a 1 minute poll. 1 minute. Here we go. Poll. Okay, what should we? Oh, hang on. What should we do next? All right. Should it be Friday or Elm
I see 2
Street?
Fridays. I see 2 Nightmares. I see 3. I see.
All right. Hang on. There's the poll. Yeah. The poll is there.
There's
all right.
Poll.
What should we do next? Friday, Elm Street. It's not going to be up for very long. Let's see what happens. People are voting.
Elm Street. Nope. Neck and neck.
It's neck and neck, baby. It's neck and neck.
Wow. It really is neck and neck.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Ooh. And Friday's taking the lead. Friday's at 58%, Elm Street at 42%, 44% for Elm Street, 58% for Friday, now 59 for Friday, 41 for Elm Street, 42 for Elm Street, 59 for Friday, 41 for Elm Street. Here we go. It's down, going down the middle. 41 for Elm Street, 59 for Friday. Everybody wants Friday the 13th. 37 votes are in. 57 for Friday, 57 for Friday, 42 for Elm Street, 42 for Elm Street. Oh my God, here it goes. 42 for Friday. It looks like Jason Voorhees is kicking Freddy Krueger's ass. He's taking the machete and shoving it up his ass.
Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Jason sequel. Here you go.
He's taking the machete and shoving it up his ass. It's now 60% Friday. Elm Street's it's down to 40%. 40%. Now it's up to 41%. 41%. Do I hear 42%? 42%. Do I hear 42%? Do I hear 45%? Do I hear 53%?
How much time got left?
All right, here we go. In 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Looks like we're doing Friday.
Yep. People just like Jason better than Freddy. All right. Friday. Yeah, I'll go.
You go first on this, so that'll be year 2, and then I'll do Elm Street first, and then you can do Halloween.
So,
wait. I think people would rather hear. I should probably do Halloween first because I think people would be more interested in what you got to say. So,
no. Okay. So, okay. So, there's a couple of thoughts. As I was thinking about the Friday the 13th franchise, what's the installment that ruined the franchise, right? The installment where you go, uh-oh. At first, and this is not what I picked, but at first I was like, well, it kind of like, 1 is great. I like 1. I'm an unabashed fan of 1, but part 1 ends up usually on, nobody's top 5 when they're ranking the Friday the 13th franchise. But I like 1. Of course, 2 is up there. 2's great, right? Ginny and, and the Sackhead and all that's great. And you get to 3. Now, 3's great in the sense that Richard Brooker is great, and those Goldberg traps and the mask. You see the mask for the first time. Some of the kills are great, but the whole 3D aspect, it doesn't really, because it's not. I mean, it's 80s. It's this kind of 3D, and it doesn't really hold up in 2D. It's kind of annoying and tacky and cheesy and cringy. And I was gonna be like, well, maybe it's 3. But then I'm like, well, no, because 4 is great. Right? So 3 might have been a hiccup in its presentation. Maybe not then, but in hindsight, when you watch it back, it's always that one, it's the awkward 3D one. But then 4 is great, and 5's getting more love, even though it's not Jason. And then, of course, you got Jason Lives, even though it's not my favorite, it is a lot of people's favorite, right? Jason Lives, well, I mean, the franchise is still rocking here. And then you get to 7. And I think the Kane Hodder era, I think he's a great Jason in all the wrong Jason movies. No. I think he's a great Jason.
Tread carefully, Dave.
I think he's a great Jason in all the wrong Jason movies. Now, you see, Mr. Merck says it's 5. But you have to remember, when we say that a movie ruined a franchise, apart from Scream at the moment, because there isn't another one, we're talking about a film where the franchise never quite recovers. Right? And so you can't...
It recovers with 6.
Yes, exactly. So even if you don't like 5, it recovered with 6. So 5 didn't really ruin the franchise, right? It depends on how you're measuring it. But for us, for Tony and I, that's how we're thinking, right? We're like, now again, with Scream, there's a little bit of an asterisk there because we don't know what 8's going to be like. We're just, to us, that's probably the weakest, tiredest one at the moment. And so, but for us, it's usually, this is the one where it just kind of, now we don't get any better. So for me, I'm going to say Friday the 13th, 7. I think they get progressively worse as we move on from there. I think 8 is worse than 7. I think 9 is worse than 8. I think 10 is,
progressively is a kind word.
Yeah. And it just, now he's in space, and I think Freddy versus Jason is just I know people love it, and it's fair, and I think it's great. But Kane Hodder, for me, I think is a good Jason in just not very good Jason movies. And when you introduce the whole telekinesis and you add this angle to it, and it's Carrie versus Jason, and I don't know. I've never, when I watch Friday the 13th, I usually only watch the first 4. I will often put I will sometimes put 5 in, maybe 6, but I rarely watch 7, 8, Jason Goes to Hell. It was one of the most disappointing VHS rentals of my entire life in the early 90s was Jason Goes to Hell.
Try seeing it in the theater.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, I can only imagine. Well, because on the VHS cover, it said something to the effect of, the producer of the original is back to bring you the final. And I was like, well, at 14 years old, I'm like, the producer. Didn't realizing that he doesn't give a fuck.
Good about that movie was the ending.
Yeah.
With Freddy pulling the hockey mask under, which ironically was Kane Hodder arm doing that.
Right. and even then, and the blades bent when he was trying to, so I'm not saying, again, as we said at the beginning, sometimes when we refer to the movie that ruined the franchise, it can be the worst movie in the franchise or a very bad movie. Sometimes they can also not be a bad movie, but just the one where you start to see the turn. Yep. And I don't think 7 is as good as 6. I'm not a huge fan of 6. I like 6, but I'm not like, it's my favorite or anything. And so, but I like it better than 7. And 8 is just, Jason takes a ferry ride to Vancouver. And then of course, Jason Goes to Hell is Jason Goes to Hell. And young director at the time. And I know it has a cult following now, but I just couldn't get on board with what was going on in Jason Goes Hell.
Jumping.
It was a little too Evil Dead to me. It was a little too stylized. It didn't feel like Friday the 13th. And so I couldn't get on board with it. I'm like, what's happening here, right? And then Freddy versus Jason, or Jason X, Jason's back, but it's like Terminator. Like, I'm just like, it still doesn't really feel like Friday the 13th to me. And then Freddy versus Jason is just one long big music video. And so that to me is the film that ruined the franchise, so to speak, right? That's the one where it made that turn for me. Because I don't think they got much better after that. Tony, what about you?
Well, this is fun because I'm a huge fan of the sequel. Obviously, everyone knows that.
Yeah.
Friday the 13th Part 2 is my favorite in the franchise, followed by 6, and then the original. 5 to me is, for that time, for those who weren't around in the 80s, it is the most Friday the 13th movie in the franchise, and unfortunately it doesn't have the guy we want, which is Jason. Meaning when you think about the elements of the 80s, right, and how they were making these movies, girls, boobs, lots of boobs, over the top kills, over the top kills.
Yeah.
Disposable characters and whatnot, which essentially is what the formula was for a Friday the 13th movie.
Yes.
And 5 is the most Friday the 13th film on paper. Unfortunately, it just doesn't have Jason in it, but I love it. I mean, I just watched it here on March 13th, Friday the 13th. So it's one of my favorites in the franchise as well too. 3 and 4, I don't watch those very often. I know it's the introduction of the hockey mask. I've always been like, what would it have been like if he stayed with the sack? Because to me, the sack is just, there's always something creepy about that. Like, why is he wearing a sack? Why is there only one hole in the sack? Why is there not 2 holes?
Right.
It's just, we didn't get enough.
The sack is back.
Right. Well, you've seen, like, when I was doing those photos back in the day with some creative lighting, you could really make that shit look creepy.
You can,
we just didn't see, and of course, it was the 80s, right? And they wanted, Michael had his mask, so they wanted to give Jason something, obviously, and they turned him into a pissed off goalie. So
it's true.
But for me, it is 7 as well.
Wow.
7 is killer for me as well too.
Wow, so we've been aligning, and we did not compare beforehand. We didn't talk. We did not compare.
We did not talk. We did not want to share what we were going to do. But yeah, 7. When you start getting into, look, Kane Hodder was great as Jason, but when you start getting into people with powers and they can move shit with their minds, we are so far from where this franchise started at and what it was to now we're getting into like superpowers and just like.
Well, and it's also, and it's not that, and something too, I think we should point out, it's not that the telekinesis in 7 is, gratuitous, we'll say. Like, it's not like it's some superhero,
so far from like,
but it's what it means. It's what it means for the future. Where are we going when we introduce this, right? What's going to like, now that we've introduced this element, where are we going from here, right? You know what I mean? And so sometimes it's not what's introduced, it's what the implications are when you introduce it of what future installments could mean, And so anyway, sorry, yeah.
No, that's essentially it. I mean, there's your sentiments on 8 is mine. Like, this is a lake that's in New Jersey. How the fuck did they end up on the Atlantic Ocean? Yep. I don't know. I mean, kind of defies geography, but okay. And then of course, we'll like 9 with the whole body jumping and in space. 10, no. And then look. I don't hate on Freddy versus Jason. Like, I kind of look at that as like a throwback to the iconic monster, Godzilla versus King Kong type movies. So I don't even really think of that as part of the franchise. I think of it as just a one-off fun movie. and that's it. So I kind of never include that into anything when it comes to the franchise, even though I know the movies associated with both Nightmare and Friday. I just look at that. I've always looked at it as just as a one-off fun, movie, and don't take it seriously.
Yeah, no, I got you. And you could almost see it as disconnected from the franchise altogether, as its own thing. From either
exactly
franchise.
Right.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Okay.
On to Freddy. So do you want to go first, and then I'll go second, and then I'll go first for Halloween? And
sure.
You'll
all right.
Close it out. Sounds good. All
right. So A Nightmare on Elm Street. This was interesting.
This one was easy for me.
It was easy for you. Okay, so here's my reasoning why I chose this one. It might get something up. Here we go.
Oh shit!
It might.
The pitchforks are coming. The villagers are coming.
The villagers are coming, ladies and gentlemen. The pitchforks are coming out.
This is the one that I had a feeling that might shock people. So here we go.
Now, let me again say that.
Here we go.
Depending on the franchise, we're not necessarily picking the worst movie, right? Don't mistaken the one that killed the franchise has to be sometimes it is the worst, but sometimes it's the one where there's change. Okay? And for me, that is Dream Warriors.
Ooh.
And I know that is going to kill people because some people might be like, but it's not the worst one in the franchise. No, you're right. It's not the worst one in the franchise. You're absolutely right. It's nowhere near the worst one in the franchise. But with Dream Warriors, and I like Dream Warriors. But Dream Warriors is the beginning of the change of how Freddy was utilized. And for me, you guys know me. I like dark, scary Freddy. And when you watch the first Elm Street, not that he didn't have a quip here or there, right? Hey, Tina, watch this. It's not that he was void, of a line or a quip, but the film was darker relative to its time, of course. It's a B movie in the early 80s, but it's darker, it's eerier, he's darker, he's more in shadow, he's more of an enigma. It's just I like the way that he's portrayed and presented. And then of course you get to 2. And you can say what you want about the story and how they broke the rules and how, okay, we can have a talk about that. But man, is that a terrifying Freddy Krueger. I mean, just terrifying. You know what I'm saying? And it is the most, I wanted that because when we got into Freddy and Jason, there were only, we were watching them when they were getting released. Right?
We were watching this happen.
Right. We were watching it unfold. If you're much younger than us, you get to watch them all at once now. But when we were getting into Freddy, when I got into Freddy, there was literally one Elm Street movie. And so then I saw, as you did, Elm Street 2 come in. I said, wow, he's so dark. And he's so you've got the body, I've got the brain. Just the whole oh my God, he's dark. He's the hook witch nose and the sunken in eyes, and at the pool party when he's looking like that and the flames are in the foreground and shit, and he's just all in shadow inside. I was this is fucking dark, man. This dark shit. He's scary. He's scary. Then we get to 3. Okay, now 3, the story and Freddy is a bit more. It's fun. I get why people like it. It's the Friday the 13th Part 6 of the Elm Street franchise.
Halloween 4 of the franchise.
Maybe not. Well, I wouldn't even say 4. I'd say maybe H2O. Maybe. It's that sort of more kind of whimsy, kind of more fun. Fun. It's more fun, right? It's more fun. Not so serious. It's more fun. And so I get why people like it, and I don't dislike it. I like A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 as well. I do. Of course I do. It's Elm Street 3. It's Dream Warriors. We love it. But it is the beginning of the change. It is where we see him more clearly. He's not as scary. He's more carnival. The beginnings of that carnival Barker, you start to see it a little bit. It's not as egregious as, when you get to like Freddy's Dead or something. Of course not. But, some people say, but it's the nice hybrid of both. And it's like, yeah, I mean, you can make that argument. It's a nice hybrid of both, sure, but I wanted darker. I wanted darker. I wanted him to, if Freddy from Elm Street 2 had been the Freddy all the way through all the sequels, oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. And it's just, and so 3 for me, it's got the classic lines, welcome to prime time, bitch, and all this stuff. Oh yeah, that's all great. But it's just the whimsy of it, I'm the wizard master, and you look tired, and all these things. And then you see him you see him more clearly but yes, I know Heather's great and the dad is great and forgetting his name now, John Saxon. But it is the movie that started the trajectory into, hey, that did really well at the box office. Freddy was fun. Freddy was charming. Freddy was funny. You know what? Let's give them an MTV Freddy in part 4. And then you get part 5, and then you get Freddy's Dead. Sorry, Chris Stanley of Chris Stanley cosplay. No, I don't think that's I don't know if he's doing that. He's a big fan of Freddy's Dead. So for me, now, of course, when you get to Wes Craven's New Nightmare, they go back to, it being a bit darker. But in terms of that original series run, because New Nightmare is its separate, I know it's the 7th film, but it's separate, it's a whole kind of meta thing. In terms of that first run, the actual Elm Street, the 6 films, as much as I do like 3, I think it is the one that is the separation between the Freddy I love and the Freddy I don't. And so for me, that's my choice. Have the pitchforks come out? Has blood been drawn?
They're coming for you. I like most people, I think a lot of Nightmare fans would agree. My favorite ones in the franchise are 1, 3, and New Nightmare, even though New Nightmare is kind of separate. I do like 2. 2 is a very solid sequel. For me, it's 4. Once you hit 4, now 4 also, I believe, is the highest grossing one box office.
Might be
the most. I think 4 did the most at the box office. I have to double check that, but I'm almost certain it's the highest grossing one. And essentially it is the MTV. Version of Freddy. He's putting on sunglasses. I believe that's the one he's putting on sunglasses. It's just like, wait, what? Like, we go from him being dark in the shadows and scary as hell in the first one. Now he's putting on sunglasses at the beach. Nah. 4 for me, pretty much. He's what?
No, sorry. Go ahead.
No, what were you going to say? He's what?
Oh, I was going to say he's pop culture at that point, right? He's just
totally at that
he's
point.
A rock star. Again, he's a rock star.
I do take it. I do take the time, the time of which these, like you said, we were watching this as in real time as it was happening. These movies were coming out as we were growing up back then in the 80s. And when did Freddy's Dead come out? Early 90s?
Freddy's Dead was 91, I think.
91. So you and I were going into our teen years by then. And so we grew up with this stuff and we watched it happen. So at the time I was probably a little bit more forgiving with those movies because we were young and we were like, oh, it's so cool. And look, 5 Dream Child has some really cool labyrinth-like style dream sequences. So I'm not saying they 4 had some cool dream sequences. In fact, we did a recreation of that in an abandoned church with a girl who looked very similar to Lisa. I think it was Lisa Wilcox who played
Lisa Wilcox. Alice.
Yeah, who's who played Alice. The girl we did the photos with, in her outfit, the girl we had almost the exact same outfit and everything.
You took some great photos in that abandoned church.
Really cool. Yeah, that was a really cool shoot that we did. But it just, when you look at 1 and 2, and for me, I love 3. I do love Dream Warriors. I mean, It's like, come on, Doki, man. Dream Warrior.
Oh, it's a great song. The Dream Warriors. Oh, it's great. It's a great track.
But yeah, so for me, it's 4 is the beginning of like, all right, I think we're reaching the end here. Then 5 and 6 is just like, you know what I've noticed too.
Six is just, well, as I've often said, Freddy's a loser in that movie.
With the exception of Chainsaw Massacre, because Chainsaw Massacre is essentially a family. It's essentially centered around a family.
Yes.
But you ever notice that these franchises simply just start to run out of ideas? Like, so what can we do next? Well, Freddy has a daughter that we have not heard about for the last 5 fucking movies.
That's right.
Now we're going to talk about this daughter that he has.
That's it.
Or like in the Friday the 13th films, like only a Voorhees can kill Jason. So now Jason has these, distant relatives and shit. Like once you start bringing the family element into these movies, Halloween excluded because Carpenter introduced that pretty early on. So that essentially also became the root of the storytelling in the Halloween movies. But essentially, Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th, they're running out of ideas when they're reaching to the family.
Yeah, well, it's like when a sitcom is well, maybe not so much for our younger viewers, but back in the day when we used to watch situated comedies, with laugh tracks, there would always be a season where all of a sudden the wife was pregnant and they were introducing a baby.
Right.
And it was always like, oh, we're running out of ideas.
We got to knock her up.
Yeah, usually about season 4 or 5, is when not in every sitcom, but you did see that in a lot of sitcoms back in the 90s, especially. You did, somebody's pregnant or there's a pregnancy scare. Oh, is going to be pregnant. Anyways, they're running out of ideas. Yeah, look, again, I do like the Dream Warriors, and I think I understand why you picked 4. I think you could pick 4, and I think it makes total sense as well. I chose to pick 3, maybe to be a little bit, a hot take, just to be a bit. I chose it to be a bit edgy, but I didn't just choose it for that. I do have sound reasoning for it because, again, for me, I look at it and I think to myself, well, if it wasn't for 3, and that this did really well and he's charming and funny, then maybe we wouldn't have gotten 4, right? Had 3 been darker, would it have been as successful? We'll never know. But darker Freddy still within the confines of the Dream Warriors, right? Still within the confines of lucid dreaming, just a darker film. Would it have been as successful? I don't know. Who knows? We'll never know. But I just feel that as much as I do like 3, and I do like Freddy in it, but that is where that's the inception. That's the foundation. That's the origin story of, so here we go. He's not full blown in that movie, but it planted the seed for the subsequent, films to come. So that's why I chose 3, but you choosing 4 makes total sense as well. Yep. And then he's just a big loser in 6. Not Robert Englund, just the character of Freddy. It's just, he's got the chalkboard out. He's going, it's like, what are we doing?
It's such a joke to compare to when you look at 6 and then the original. It's like, wait, what?
I know, it's crazy.
How did we end up here?
It's crazy. All right. Halloween.
We reached the denouement of our.
You know what? Let's not do Halloween. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Good night,
no. All right, Halloween. You were going to go first. This is the movie that ruined the franchise.
I'm sure no one's going to be shocked by what I say because I've said this many times. The first 4 films in this franchise are my favorite. I watch them every year, always in and around Halloween. Usually within within a couple of days. Usually I'm rocking Halloween 3, and then hitting 4, and usually the day before, and I hit it with Halloween 1 and 2 on the day of. Depends on what's going on, as well too, if I have like work or busy schedule. But usually in and around Halloween, those 4 films are always in my rotation, and it's been that way since I was a kid, since I discovered these movies and watched them, and it will 3 grew on me over the years as an adult too.
Yes.
I didn't watch 3 that much as a kid, so I have to be honest on that, but 3 certainly grew on me. But for me, It's Halloween 5. I mean, Halloween 5 just essentially shits on everything that was great about Halloween 4. And look, I know there's fans of Halloween 5 out there, but when you look at when you watch 4, and you've said this so many times, just when we've talked about Halloween 4 did something that is so hard to do, is that it came full circle and ended on such a strong note, where that if they just left it alone and didn't do anything with it, you essentially ended this franchise on a high note. Like you don't need it. Evil still lives. Jamie's at the top of the staircase, and it goes back to the first shot of Michael as a boy, and it just boom, and then you get 5, and it's like it's the tattoo and the man in black, and then just killing off Rachel in the first 10 minutes of the movie after surviving now, I'm not against Rachel dying, and I've said this many times. I'm not against the character dying, but we essentially were forced to like an obnoxious character in Tina, and that's no diss at the actress who played her. I've seen her in interviews. She's a very, very nice woman, and I'm not trying to say it to be insulting, but the character of Tina is obnoxious. And now I'm supposed to like this character and warm up to this character who essentially doesn't want anything to do with Jamie. Right. And she's the one who's going to sacrifice herself to save Jamie. That should have been Rachel. Right. I mean, even though 5 still would have probably been a shit show, if it was Rachel sacrificing herself to save Jamie, that would have been more impactful. Agreed. The movie still probably wouldn't have done good, but that would have been like, oh fuck, but it would have made Rachel's death a lot more meaningful. Rachel's death was a cheap shot to try to do something like Psycho did, and it didn't land. And then like a lot of daytime shots, and we're seeing Michael in the daytime, and I'm just like, what the fuck are we doing here? So for me, it's 5. It's 5. Yeah.
Well, for me, it's the original. No. What? No.
That would have shocked the shit out
I was thinking about just delaying that and playing that out for 5 minutes. No, could you imagine? I just go on for 5 minutes about how I think it's a piece of crap. I could do it and be convincing. But anyway, no, I agree with you 100%. I've talked about this many times on this channel. For me, I have a whole video on my channel from about, 7 or 8 years ago, talking about how Halloween 5 ruined the franchise. And when I posted that video, although if you watch the whole video, I do think it's clear, again, kind of like what we've been talking about here on this show, you can make an argument whether the movie that ruined the franchise is the worst in the franchise, because sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't, right? I mean, A Nightmare on Elm Street 3 clearly isn't the worst in the franchise, right? And, I'm talking about how it ruined the franchise, right? We're using those words to for effect. But in the case of Halloween 5, now you could argue, is it Halloween 5 that's the worst? Is it Halloween Resurrection that's the worst? Is it one of the Rob Zombie movies that's the worst? Is it H2O? Is it Halloween Ends? Is it, whatever the case is. But in terms of, I look at the franchise from a franchise perspective. Now, I'm a Halloween purist, but I have to look at it from a franchise perspective. And I say, okay, well, you have Halloween 1, you have Halloween 2, and you have Halloween 3. You have Halloween 4, which was successful at the box office. Didn't make a ton of money, but it was successful, which is why 5 was rushed into production. Halloween 5 is such a departure, like you said, from 4, that it is the movie. When you look at the problems of the franchise, right? When you look at the issues, Halloween 3 aside, because obviously there was no Michael Myers, we didn't know how to market it, it didn't do very well, fine. But then Michael was back and you had 4. When you look at the subsequent issues the franchise ran into, you can trace it all the way back to 5. You got 6 because of 5. You got H2O because of 6. You got Resurrection because of H2O. You got Rob Zombie's movies because Resurrection. And you got the David... Like, everything comes back to 5. And 5 is the one that is such a departure. You talk about the Michael Myers house and how it looks completely different, and how Halloween 5 is more of this gothic avant-garde. You know, Dominic Orthinian Gerard wanted to do this and this. Let's do this and this and this and this. And he was given reins to do certain things. And they didn't have a script that was done. And he was interjecting this sort of gothic kind of thing to it, whatever the case is. That's fine. But there was no... It's the movie that it's such a downturn from 4. It's such a downturn from 4. And I don't think the franchise ever really recovered. Now, you could say that it recovered with H2O. You can say that if you want. Although H2O is not connected to 4, 5, and 6. It is only connected to 1 and 2 only, despite it was going to be connected to 4, 5, and 6. It's not. And so you could say, well, what about H2O? It's really, I love H2O. I don't hate it. It's not the worst in the series. But by the time H2O came out...
H2O is the Dawson's Creek in the series.
Yeah, well, by the time H2O came out, you and I were already 19 years old. And so it wasn't our first Halloween movie. It wasn't the first movie... It wasn't the first one we saw in the theater. It wasn't the first Halloween film we saw. For a lot of people, not everybody, but for a lot of people who love Halloween H2O, it was either the first Halloween movie they ever saw or the first Halloween movie they saw in the movie theater. And so there's a real strong nostalgic connection to it. And there's nothing wrong with that. But for me, it was like, and for you, it's like, this is like Michael Myers walked onto the set of Dawson's Creek. It's really lit, really. It feels very teen, bopper, teen, it didn't quite feel like Halloween. And then you get Resurrection and then the Rob Zombie remakes and then so on and so forth. So for me, 5 is that installment that just kind of, it just tipped.
I always wondered, and I got a question for you.
Yeah.
I've always wondered, what do you think? Now, obviously, this is a total speculation that Dave is going to answer here. So, that's all he can do. What do you think they would have done with H2O if there was no Halloween for 5 or 6? There was a 4, but not 5 or 6. Do you think they would have connected it still? Because if
there was no 5 or 6,
right? There's no 5 or 6, so now you get rid of the Thorn bullshit and all craziness, and you 4 is a solid sequel.
Yeah.
And Jamie Lee's talking like, oh, I want to come back and do do you think they keep 4 as part of the continuity of the franchise?
I think it's possible. And I think you get Danielle Harris in there as very likely, because Danielle Harris at that time,
the fans would have been like going.
Sure. And at that time, she was working a lot. I mean, she was just she was in Daylight with Sly in 1996. And so, and then you have, H2O in 98, right? So
there's also a reoccurring character on Roseanne.
On Roseanne, right. So she was active. She was very active. And so I think it's possible that you could have gotten her. What the story would have been, I don't know. It might have centered more around her. Maybe the discovery that her mother faked her death to protect her. And maybe that's sort of the heart of the story, right? And maybe it does take place in, maybe not Haddonfield, but, another Midwestern town where she discovers this and she reconnects with Laurie and Michael's back. But how Michael's back, I don't know. You have to justify that. They never found his body.
This should be a good video for you to do. You should do a deep dive on the what if scenario so that you could really expand on it. What do you think they would have done? No, because I know everyone who watches would love that shit where you spend more time talking like, what do you think they would have done if there was no 4 or 5 and we
or 5 or 6
H2O. I'm sorry, 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And now we're talking an H2O with the first 4 films. And 4 is such a strong sequel. I don't think they would have omitted that movie. And I think they would have found a way to connect everything together. And it changes everything.
Yeah. Well, it's entirely
for the better, not for the worst.
it's entirely possible it could go both ways, because 4, as I've said many times, I think Halloween 4 is one of the greatest endings in all of horror. And I mean that sincerely. I don't think Halloween 4 is necessarily one of the greatest movies in all of horror. It's one of the better movies in the franchise. But certainly it's got one of the greatest endings of all time, because thematically it doesn't end on a nice note, but sometimes the best endings do not end all cozy and comfy with bunny slippers and some
That's
popcorn.
what you just said makes that, and that why that movie's so good is because it doesn't end. You expect a horror movie to always end on everybody lives happily ever after.
Sometimes
they don't.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
no, they don't. But thematically, it connects back to the original in such a profound way. And so this whole talk about evil never dies and, all this kind of stuff. And then here you have Jamie is supposed to be 7, even though Danielle Harris was like 12. But she's supposed to be, or 11 or whatever, or 10. But she's supposed to be 7. The character is 7. So now you're mirroring the ending or you're mirroring the thematic layers of the original movie and what Dr. Loomis was always talking about. You have this 7-year-old child. We've gone back to it, right? She's standing at the top of the stairs in a clown costume. She's not holding a butcher knife. She's holding scissors, but still. And at this point, because 5 has not happened, see, in part 5, we find out, her foster mom survived. But if 5 was never made, as far as we know as an audience, she just murdered her foster mother, right?
Exactly.
And so she's standing there and Dr. Loomis losing it, right? He's about to kill her.
Look on Rachel's face.
Look on everybody's face. He's about to kill he's about to kill a little girl because he cannot take how the pain and what that means to him. He would sacrifice murdering a 7-year-old child. That's how, when you think about it deeply on that level, it's powerful. And then of course it just ends there. And if you never made another Halloween movie ever again, it would be an incredibly powerful, it's not cozy, it's not the H2O ending, sure, fine, but it is powerful thematically, and it helps to reinforce the evil never dies, you can't kill the boogeyman, all that kind of thing. It helps to reinforce that, and a very powerful ending. And then you get to 5, what I agree with you, what 5 should have been, I talked about this on my channel in a pre-recorded video, and I agree with you 100%, Tony. 5 should have been extending, building off of the heart of Halloween 4. If you wanted to, you didn't have to make Jamie the killer. Because a lot of people think, well, now what do? You got to make her the killer. No, you don't. You don't have to make her you could if you wanted to, but you don't have to make her Michael Myers' sidekick. You don't have to do that. But what you should have done was lean into the emotional anchor of part 4, which you've set up, which is the relationship between Jamie and Rachel. That's the emotional anchor. And because remember, as I've said, at the very beginning of 4, Rachel wanted nothing to do with Jamie, not in a, horrible way, but she's a teenager. She's into boys. She's got other things going on. She's my foster sister. She's not even, do you love me, Rachel, like a sister?
By the end, you just went on this crazy journey.
Exactly.
With these two,
that
like
bonding
by the end.
That bonding. And that is set up in the writing, right? At the very beginning. Do you love me, Rachel, like a sister, like a real sister? Well, we're not really sisters, Jamie, but that doesn't mean I love you.
Harsh.
Right. But by the end of the movie, everything they've gone through, that should have been the core moving forward. Now they're fucking thick as thieves, those two. You are my real sister. I don't give a frog's fat ass if we're not blood. You are my real sister because look at the shit we just went through. And she should have been that relationship. And maybe Rachel still does die in 5, but to your point, she dies making the ultimate sacrifice, saving her sister. You know what I mean? And because that, again, thematically in that relationship, that's your anchor. That's your anchor. And you can still have Jamie, not mute, but you can still have her in a psychiatric ward, whatever the case is, and you nurture that relationship. You build off that. Rachel goes to see her, maybe they go out for, lunch. She's able to, all that.
But maybe not as talkative, still dealing with the effects of attacking her stepmother.
Right.
The traumatic part of it. But everything you said about Rachel in 4 is the reason why she's my favorite final girl in the franchise. It's not a slap at Jamie Lee Curtis. I understand that Jamie Lee Curtis is the face of the franchise. But when you look at Rachel's arc, right? You look at the arc of Rachel in that 4th film, from how we're introduced to her, where she ends up. That's exactly why she's my favorite in the franchise.
Oh, she's great. And this whole idea, I don't know if this was officially said by Dominic Orthinian Gerard, but this idea to kill Rachel off so early, same with Drew in Scream. Of course, it worked way better in in that film. But but I implore people to watch the original Psycho, because it's not like Janet Leigh is killed off in the first 5 minutes. She's in that movie for, dare I say, nearly an hour. She's the main character for nearly an hour. No, but nearly. It's like 45 minutes. It's not like the first 10 minutes of the movie. We're introduced to her. There's the whole bank scene and everything. She drives. She gets the car. She goes to the hotel. It's a different era too, and movies were very different in terms of how the stories unfolded. But it was still a shock. But this whole idea that we got to kill off a character in the first 5 minutes of the movie to shock the audience, you don't have to do that. I mean, you can build it up and get us attached to a character before you do that. And as I've always said, it's not that characters die, it's how they die. And Rachel it was insulting. I felt nothing. I felt nothing when she died. But sacrificing herself to save Jamie would have been huge. The story, the nucleus of 5 should have been all about Rachel and Jamie. That you had it. Well, you had it there.
That's the other element to this that we don't even think about, is that if there was no 5 and 6, would Rachel also be a part of H2O?
Correct.
With Jamie Lee Curtis and Danielle Harris, right? So you have these characters that are still alive, and there's a lot more you could,
it's true. Well, right? And what could have been, and maybe there was no way. Maybe if you just stopped at 4, there was no 5 and 6. Maybe there wouldn't have been an H2O. I don't know, or a resurrection. I mean, imagine if 40 years goes by, and I've said this too. Imagine if what Halloween 18 was not what we got. No, I mean, I enjoyed what we got, but let's say if there were no others in the franchise, your Halloween 18 may have been a return of Rachel and Jamie. As Danielle Harris and maybe Jamie Ellie Cornell, Curtis, depending on perhaps, yeah, that might have been an interesting dynamic.
I still think we probably would have gotten Rob Zombie's movies there in the early 2000s,
possibly,
because those were, because it was during the run of the reboots of all these movies that they were doing. And I've said it. I do like his first Halloween movie. But. Yeah,
well, it's
not enough to sit there and compare it, because I know some people might go, well, you say you don't, it was 6 is good from Friday the 13th, but you don't like 5 or this and this and that, doing that. Well, but now you're saying Rob Zombie's H2O is, or not Rob Zombie's H2O, Rob Zombie's is good. So does that mean it doesn't kill it? No, I'm saying it's good in the sense of I'll watch Rob Zombie's Halloween,
right?
But for me, where the start of the turn, the downward, just ultimately where this franchise has gone, which has been a downward spiral with some shining moments. Rob Zombie's Halloween was one of them. Halloween 2018 was another one. Those were shining shooting stars that, a quick flash of, oh, that was good, and had fun with it. And but the rest of it,
Yeah, no, it's true. And so, Halloween 5 for obviously us is the one that ruined or destroyed the franchise, because it's the catalyst of the downward, trajectory. I mean, it's even something like the Myers house. So many fans don't care about it, and I respect that. If you don't care about it, you like it, that's fine. Look, it's an amazing house. I agree, it's an amazing house.
The Munsters house.
Yeah. I agree, it's an amazing house, but it should never have been. It should never have been approved. It should never have been approved to be the Myers house, because there's no justification for it. I mean, it doesn't. So many people. I feel that it gets us a pass with so many fans, because the original Myers house never became a character necessarily in the franchise in the ways that the Amityville house did or the Elm Street house did. Correct. Could you imagine doing an Elm Street Part 5 with the Myers house in 5 and just passing it off like it's the Elm? Fred heads everywhere would never put up with that. Elm Street fans would not put up with that.
The Elm Street house is it is a character. When you see that house, we all know Elm Street.
Right, exactly. Same with Amityville, same with Psycho, right? Whereas the Myers house didn't quite reach that pinnacle. And so it's easier to kind of just, that'll do. They don't care. But that was just, but I like the house. But it's not continuity-wise, it doesn't work. This is,
that's not just remodeling, that's a whole fucking facelift.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any
Doesn't
sense
look
to
anything.
me. Yeah, it's just to me it's incompetence. But anyway, yeah. So those are the films that Tony and I have said ruined the franchises, destroyed the franchise, whatever big words you want to use there. But as you can see, there's a lot of nuance around these things, right? And hopefully, if you're watching after the fact, you get sort of our criteria, our measuring stick for why we're choosing some of the movies we did. Because again, not every movie we chose is like the worst in the franchise necessarily, right? But we look at it and we go, I'm seeing symptoms here. I think this is the one that kind of, if we didn't have this one, we might not have got, and we have it, and you know what I'm saying? But jump into the comment section and let Tony and I know your thoughts about anything we had to say here today, and what films you would have chosen. We would like to know. Let's move over to the chat room and get some of these super chats. Some super chats came in. Let me get some of these before I forget, and member chats as well. Let me see here. We've got Mendel Goodman, been a member for 31 months, sends in a member chat and says, people are hating on Scream 7. It's too much like Halloween H2O because of the protective mom. However, Sydney has more of a reason to be overprotective than Laurie because of more Ghostface occurrences. Yeah, I will be honest with you. I don't know, Tony, you can let me know your thoughts. I never thought of Halloween H2O once watching Scream 7. Never crossed my mind. Well, you? No?
It just
didn't cross my mind.
I'm not hating on it for those. I'm not hating on it for those reasons. I'm not really even hating on it. It's just more of like, I think the well is dry with Bev and her character. Like, there's just no need for it. The story did not. The point of a sequel is you want to keep the franchise moving along, and this doesn't move anything along. It just, we got to see Stu, and Matthew Lillard was crushing it, but it's AI. It's not Stu. I said this in our review, just to kind of quickly say it again. I would have preferred that they just pulled the trigger and just said, all right, we're bringing Stu back. That would have been better than ultimately, like, I still sit there and I know this movie got a test screening and they hinted at, or it was alluded that Stu was alive, and they didn't test well. So I'm like, okay, so that doesn't test well, but you're telling me this tested well?
Right. Yeah,
no, definitely no H2O. I didn't think of H2O.
No, I didn't think of H2O either at all. It never crossed my mind. Eddie Chase sends in $4.99. Thanks, Eddie. Says Halloween 5, Scream 4 to present. Sydney's story ended at 3. Not bad movies, but they fished the river dry. So Eddie Chase says Halloween 5 is the worst for him. It's the catalyst that destroyed the franchise. And Scream 4 to present. So okay. Yeah, interesting. That's a good way to look at it.
He's a fan of the first 3 of Scream. Okay.
Yes. Sydney's story ended at 3. Well, it's ended multiple times. Eddie Chase follows up again and says, not on topic, but who was Ghostface who burned the house in part 7? Was it explained or left open-ended? Was it the first Ghostface who was run over, or was it Stu?
Well, this is where my argument of bringing Stu back, because it would be poetic, Stu burning his house down. No one's going to live in this house. This is my house. So I'm assuming it was either the crazy guy or the girl. I don't know, but it was a big dude, in the Ghostface costume. So to me, the actress who's the Ghostface, she's a petite little thing. And the person who was in the costume was not petite, especially when you look at the, standing next to the boyfriend and girlfriend in those scenes. So do you think there's 2 reasons why that could be? And I think you mentioned this on the last show. Could it be that that's something they shot with Stu, and that is Matthew Lillard in there? Or is it just they use that to make you think it's going to be Stu right up until the moment
when the mask comes off.
Well, it wouldn't make sense because, again, like if you're going to say the girl is the killer and she's a petite little thing, clearly the person was not a petite little thing who was in Stu's house. So it's possible they took the lazy approach and didn't want to refilm the scenes again. And maybe that was because they originally were going to have Stu being alive. That was Stu. And then it didn't plan out that way. So instead of reshooting, you know, because that costs money, they left it. And that was that.
You never know. Yeah, it is interesting when the Ghostface mask, like, you know, when you see Ghostface picking up, you know, full-grown men and throwing them through windows and doing all sorts of stuff, then all of a sudden the mask comes off and it's Rhea Perlman. It's Rita Perlman? No, Rhea Perlman? Rhea Perlman? Rita Perlman? Rhea Perlman?
Wait,
Danny DeVito's wife? Yeah, cheers. Yeah, cheers. And you're like, oh, okay. Well, yeah, I guess I could see that.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, and that was my issue because, like, Ghostface was never supposed to be supernatural.
No,
you know, Ghostface is human, and you know, when you look at what Matthew Lillard and or Stu and Billy in the first two, they weren't doing anything supernatural,
right?
You know, or whatever. Or but as the movies have gone on, and when the reveals have happened, then I start thinking about a lot. And even in 4 does it, like there's some kills in 4s, and I love 4, but I'm like, I think she really could have done that. I don't know if she could have done that, you know, or even like the killer in 5, like same thing, you know, like, and I'm not saying, you know, like, because I know in this day and age, you got to be careful what you say. And I'm not saying that women aren't strong, but
no, of course.
there's some physicality movements that Ghostface was doing that would be really hard to do. As easy as it's doing. So like they essentially were making the character almost supernatural like, and that's not the character.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I don't disagree. Josh McKenna sends in $9.99 and says, voiceover question. Why do singing voices get more Oscar recognition than the voice actors? Why did the K-pop singers get attention and not the actors voicing the characters? Does that bother you? It doesn't bother me. I don't think the Oscars has a voice acting category. And so that would be left to the Voice Arts Awards, which I've been nominated 4 times for. It would be left to the Annies, which is the Animation Awards. Left to the Emmys. I think there's the Children or the Daytime Emmys have a voiceover or voice acting category, I think, but the Oscars don't. So that's largely why. If they did, well, then, you know, you would see voice actors winning and getting nominated. But that's why. No, it doesn't bother me at all. Because that would be why. If they had a category, and then maybe that would be different, but that would be why. Thanks, Josh. Eddie Chase sends in $4.99 and says, in defense of Jason X, you had 9 serious sequels. We can't have a silly one? Be honest. It's a Greer time? It's a Greer time? Great drinking game, possibly. It's a Greer time. Oh, a great time, you probably mean. A great time. Yeah, I've
only watched it once. I watched it that one time, and I'm like, all right, well, that was enough for me.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. You know, I think, but I don't think any of the Friday the 13th are serious. I mean, I don't think Jason X is any more silly than, you know, Jason Goes to Hell or Jason Takes Manhattan, or
you mean Vancouver?
Yeah, no, exactly. Like I don't think it's not that it's silly. I mean, it's silly, but it's just it's so far removed from anything that resembles anything Friday the 13th. He doesn't even look like Jason. I mean, if you didn't know that was Kane Hodder, if you didn't know it was a Friday the 13th movie, and you just saw that character in some sort of magazine, and there was no such thing as like you wouldn't go, oh, that's Jason, you know, right? You know what I mean? And so it's not a bad movie. It's just, I don't feel Friday the 13th when I watch it. And so, because it's supposed to be, you know, hundreds of years in the future or whatever it is. Something like that. CH Black 25 sends in $5 and says, Nightmare on Elm Street 5 Dream Child has weird energy. Interesting way to put it. The tone of that movie is dreary, like watching your football team play in the rain, so the game goes slow. Oh, interesting way to put it. I would say, yeah, that's interesting. It's definitely got more of a gothic-y kind of vibe to it with all the set pieces and everything. I think 6 is worse. I don't like 5, but I think 6 is worse than 5. 6 to me is difficult to get through. 6 is difficult to get through. He follows up with, I don't mind Halloween 5, or I didn't mind Halloween 5 as a kid. I watched again Halloween 25. I watched again Halloween 25 and was disgusted. Halloween 25? Do you mean you watched it again last year? Anyways, I'm not sure. I never need to see it again and will skip it if I ever buy the box set. I'm assuming you mean Halloween 5? And then he follows up with one more and says, if Halloween's on the brink of death, Halloween 6 gave it a small transfusion just to keep the heart beating. Mikey was an absolute dog in that one. Well, it depends what we're measuring. Box office? No. Critics? No. Your personal liking of Michael Myers? Maybe.
Yeah, I think he's talking about his personal liking of the character and just how brutal he was.
Well, I will say that it definitely had more fall atmosphere than Halloween 5 did.
The most.
Yeah.
It's probably the most fall Halloween feeling. We've said that many times. Halloween 6 is the most Halloween aesthetic look of all the Halloween movies.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's got a great look to it. Again, not my favorite, but certainly is it better than 5 in that regard? Yes. Oh, of course. Yeah. No, 5 is largely void of atmosphere. I mean, you get to there's some cool things in the barn and stuff, but when Michael is walking aimlessly under the trees, kicking stones and rocks like he's waiting for his cue. I'm sorry, but I just can't. Just look at that scene when Sammy.
Nobody wants to play with me.
When Sammy and Tina, they've got the camera on a Steadicam, and the camera operator's following them out in the yard, right? And they're like, "You gonna come to the dance?" Whatever it is, Sammy and Tina. And in the background, you see Don Shanks, like he's not even facing them. He's like kicking rocks, walking under the tree, and it's like
play with me.
Yeah, it looks like it's awful. It's god awful. It's just atrocious. Yeah.
I will say this about H2O. H2O's got the greatest theme song in that movie of all time. What's his life for? Right? Creed.
Oh, Creed. Yeah. Yeah.
People forget that song's in the movie. At the end, it's the credits.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, Barry from Wolfman's Got Nards. I mean, I think it's his. I don't know if it's his favorite. Maybe the first one's his favorite. I'm not sure, but it's one of his favorites. Oh, he loves it. Oh, no, he doesn't just like it. He loves it. He thinks it's fantastic. It's amazing. Loves seeing his eyes. With
the 5 different Myers masks.
Yes, loves seeing Michael's eyes and everything, and he's got his justification for it. I categorically disagree, Barry, but he's probably going to watch this just to see if we say Halloween H2O destroyed the franchise. All right, let me just see here. Let me roll on here. Eddie Chase, again, thanks, Eddie. Appreciate that. Says, if we're okay with Rachel dying, at what point in the movie would it have been better or more meaningful if all else remained the same? That's actually a very great question. If all else remained the same in 5, at what point would it have been meaningful for her to die? Well, maybe not.
Tina, that scene with Tina, instead of Tina be Rachel.
Yeah. I think
that's deep in the movie at that point, and
Yeah, no, that's good. I think you're right. I think you just replace Rachel with Tina, and now that doesn't mean that it's still going to have massive weight. It would likely have more weight. To what degree of weight and emotional impact, not too sure, but it would have more weight than where it is right now. Yeah. But I think if the film had just focused on that relationship between the two of them and built that up, then that would have been huge. But they didn't do that. And I don't understand. It's right there. Like that would have been my first, why aren't we doing this? It's right there. Yeah. Ellie Cornell was probably like, what? You're killing me off in the what? Okay. Yeah. Kind of weird. Okay. And then CH Black again, $2. Thank you. Says Zombies Halloween equals Marvel's What If for me. Oh, I see. So you kind of just look at the films.
Isn't there something like a Marvel's What If?
I think
like
so.
Out there, right?
Yeah, I think so. So that's what he says he sees it as.
Cool.
Fascinating stuff. Tony, this has been a good show.
This was fun.
This was a good show, folks. Listen, that is good.
Fun show. Like, don't take it seriously, folks. If you're a fan of any of these movies where Dave and I are, we're not trying to dog on the movies or anything like that. We have fun with these. And, when we were younger, like I even said that earlier in the stream, when we were younger, we definitely enjoyed these movies a lot more. We're looking at it through the youthful eyes, like Dave pointed out. We also were growing up and watching this happen in real time as these movies were coming out. So we have just a different perspective now as adults versus to where we were younger. But certainly it doesn't mean like, we're not trying to like hate on it. We're just saying all right, well, where in these franchises did they take a turn?
Yes, exactly. That's really what is. And you might disagree. You might be like, nah, man, I think 5 is a masterpiece. To me, it's 6.
A lot of Halloween 5 fans out there for sure. And I absolutely respect your opinions on it. And if you like the movie, that just know that there's nothing wrong with that. Like if that's your cup of tea, movies are subjective and everybody has a right to appreciate and what they like. So don't take what we are saying.
Whether you like a movie or not, whether it works for you or not, whether you're a fan of a movie or not, is absolutely subjective. What is not is the choice to use the Gothic mansion as the Myers house. I'm sorry, that is objectively ridiculous because it doesn't make any sense, logically in the universe. It doesn't make any sense. But if this was a remake and you wanted to use that, well, knock yourself out. But if you're trying to tell me that's the same, exactly. But if you're trying to tell me that this is the exact same home, from the first movie, anyway. Well, folks, listen, that's going to do it for Tony and I here on this episode of Two Dudes and Some Bullshit. Thank you for tuning in. If you're watching after the fact, like we just said, jump into the comment section. Let Tony and I know your thoughts. Do you agree with us? Do you not agree with us? What are some of the movies that for you was, this is the catalyst. This is the movie that started the turn. This is the movie that ruined the franchise, destroyed the franchise, however you want to call it or say it. Let us know in the comment section below. Good show tonight, folks. Thank you to the super chats that came in, the member chats. Thank you to our moderators. Thank you to all of you who tuned in tonight watching the show as well. Tony, any last things you'd like to say?
No, I did just want to thank a few of you. I saw my Instagram going off here. A few of you who started to follow me on my Anthony Michael Mix, MIXX. I appreciate that. For those who joined us late, I mentioned it early. I mix music on there, but I'm also doing sampling now. And I did a sample today of the Shape Stalks. I did a pretty cool. I made my own beat and then I chopped it up. And for my first time doing a sample, it was creatively fun, and I'm working on an Elm Street one right now. So I appreciate you guys who followed me and are supporting that. So thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's Anthony Michael Mix with 2 X's, MIXX. Anthony Michael Mix on Instagram. Make sure you go there and check him out. And of course,
eventually there will be a YouTube with that as well. And
amazing.
Also a TikTok at some point. At that a little bit further down the road.
Amazing. And if you want to follow me on social media, all my links are in the description. All right, folks, have a great night. We'll talk to you later. All righty. Cheers.